Hello and welcome to the Riv Readers podcast, hosted by Regina Library at Riviera University. I'm Katie McFarlane, your research and instruction librarian. We hope your semester is off to a great start. Before we get into our discussion, we just wanted to invite you to our in-person Riv Reads book club. We meet the last Monday of the month at 4 p.m. This semester, we're switching things up a little and moving to the first floor lounge area, the same spot where our therapy dogs visit when they're here. We hope you can join us for snacks, some cozy, quiet reading time, and then discussion. Bring your own book and we'll see you there. Now, without further ado, our conversation with Veronika Rosado. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your studies here at Riv.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Veronika Rosado. I am currently a senior. I'm a marketing major. I'm a transfer student and a commuter. I've been trying to be a little bit more active on campus. I'm not in any clubs or anything, but I do like to participate in workshops or any alumni events that are going on. That's kind of a little bit about me, at least when it comes to school.
So you're a marketing major. Do you have sort of a career trajectory in mind or kind of open to where it leads you?
I think now that I'm in my senior year, I'm trying to concentrate more on dialing down on like what type of careers I'd be interested in. I'm in a business seminar and an advertising and marketing research class. So I've had multiple conversations with professors trying to see, hey, I'm interested in more of the creative side when it comes to marketing or group work. Like what type of jobs do you suggest that I should be looking into, and how should I be building my portfolio or my resume so it looks good for that type of job? So I guess right now I know that I like creative work. I like working in groups, but a specific career I haven't picked. I'm taking basically this year to really dial down on that.
That's great that you have like sort of a focus, but you're still flexible within it. Just getting those good like transferable skills that you can really use anywhere is so important.
Exactly. I feel like marketing is one of those degrees that you can bring it anywhere. You could choose whatever industry, because everything needs to be promoted. Everything needs to be introduced a certain type of way to like an audience. So I feel like this degree gives me that flexibility that I can choose whatever career I would really like to get into. I'm really excited just to be able to find, I never even thought about that before.
Yeah, it's really versatile that way. Well, shifting into books and reading, I think you mentioned at one point that you had a reading goal for the year. Could you tell us a little bit about that and maybe what inspired you?
In the beginning of the year, I had picked 25 books, but I was really in kind of a role when it came to reading. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to set a bigger goal. So I set 100. But
amazing.
I forgot I am in college and I have a lot more to read in college. So I was able to kind of compromise with myself and I set to 50 officially.
Nice.
So my goal this year is 50 books.
That's great.
I'm currently at 26, if I'm correct.
Okay.
So I'm halfway there, basically. So it's a good feeling. I feel like I've been able to be really consistent and make reading kind of just part of my routine, a daily thing, than just like, do it whenever I feel like it. It's been really nice. It's a great mindfulness practice for sure.
Yeah. Now, had you not read every day before that? Was this sort of a new thing?
So the past 3 years has been when I started really reading more. 2023, I had made like a promise to myself that I wanted to be just more consistent with the things that I started, and reading regularly was one of those things. So at the beginning, it was just like 4 books. I read 4 books that year and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I started splitting it by pages. I just got to read 5 pages a day and I'll finish one book in 3 months. And that way, with that consistency, I started to build like that comfort when it came to books. Before it felt like I was forcing myself, but now it feels like so much more natural. So from going to 4 books a year to like 26 and counting is like a big thing for me. And I think it was just more of like being able to say that I do want to do something and I'm just going to work up to doing it and make it something consistent that it feels natural in the future. That's my purpose, really, just something hard, making it natural.
That's awesome. And I love how you like broke it down into like baby steps to kind of like get more familiar and build up to it. I think that's a great idea. It's so easy to like set big goals for ourselves and not really break it into smaller chunks. That's really important to recognize.
For sure.
Now, how do you choose which books you want to read next?
Usually kind of just depends on my mood. Sometimes I just want a longer series with like a lot of world building and just like really
Mm,
complex characters and things like that. I do like the aspect of books that you can just get lost in them and it's a whole brand new
mm-hmm.
world. But other times I just like a good short story, especially Japanese books. They're usually set up in that
Cool.
way. It's like
Yep.
8 chapters and it's just short stories kind of giving you life lessons. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it just depends on that. But honestly, I like to go on Pinterest and look
Ooh,
at
okay.
on there. I feel like you don't get overhyped books that might not really be what you're looking
Sure.
for. Sometimes, let's say like TikTok and Instagram has great suggestions, but I feel
Uh-huh.
like those are better for like newcomers, people that are trying to really get into
Yep.
books. They're super engaging. On
Right.
Pinterest, I find like books that you wouldn't really hear about unless like
Hmm.
you were looking for something really specific. So yeah, I've been using Pinterest a lot recently.
That's a great idea. Like you said, the overhype is like sometimes they're just like these blockbuster books and you hear so much about
Mm-hmm.
them, but then it's like you read them and you're like, well, this is kind of like
Yeah.
everything else in the same
Yeah,
genre.
it's there's books that are definitely fantastic. Some of them like are worth the hype for
Hmm.
sure. But then there's some books that it's like, oh, people like it because it has like an engaging story, but I've read like
Sure.
more engaging and more complex characters and more like connections to
Hmm.
real life in other books that people have never heard of these books, you know what I mean?
Now, what are some examples of like maybe some of the big name books that you either liked or didn't like, and then like maybe some of the ones that have kind of flown under the radar that you liked?
I feel like I don't want to I don't want to go at anybody that loves Colleen Hoover. Every time that I've read her books, they just have not hit for me and everybody's like these are so good. They're so
Hmm.
complex and all these things and I'm like I don't know, like I don't feel like that deeper connection to the books
Yep.
compared to everybody else. I have given them a chance, but like it's
Hmm.
just not for me. Her writing is just not for me, and that's okay, you know,
Hmm. It's not going to be for everybody.
for sure.
I'm curious too about some of the Japanese ones that you mentioned because I know there's been a couple like what is it, Before the Coffee Gets Cold? Did you read that
Yes,
one? Yeah?
yes, I did. I read the first two and they're so
Okay.
good.
Are
So
they? Okay, because I
honestly,
haven't read them yet.
now that you mentioned them, those books are a perfect example. I feel like I've never heard of them. Like I've
Hmm.
until like I saw them on Pinterest. I saw somebody that bought the set and I was like, "Oh my God, those covers are beautiful."
They are cute.
Japanese
Yeah.
Japanese literature is just so good. So I always kind of go for it. Those are a great example, mostly because they're basically in short stories and every story is in the same room. So it's a
Okay.
cafe, and
Yep.
apparently, if you sit at this table and you get this certain coffee, you can time travel to a time before whenever you were sitting at that cafe. So, like 10 years ago, you can time
Oh,
travel back and have a conversation again. Nothing changes in the future, but like these conversations change something like internally and mentally for each character.
hmm.
And I thought it was so, so beautiful.
They
So,
only travel back at the same place too, so it's just back in time, but like to that same cafe.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. So
cool.
there's like rules, like very strict rules. And then if you want
Okay.
to talk to somebody, they had to had been there before, like at that
Huh?
time. And like if you get up from the chair, you like automatically get like sent back to like the future. The only time that you have is until like the coffee that you have gets cold. So you
Gets
have to
cold.
drink it all for like that
Wow.
happens. Yeah,
That's
it's
really
so
neat.
interesting. It was
It kind
like
of like saves the world building because, like you said, it's all in the same place, every story, even though it's different people, different
mhm,
scenarios, you know the drill and like you know what
exactly.
they're dealing with.
Exactly. It was
Very
like
cool.
you can just imagine the room, and it's very simple in that aspect for sure. And I feel
Hmm.
like those types of books are really good for like, oh, I just want to sit down and chill and read this, and
Yes.
nothing too complex, nothing too much
Right.
activity in the brain.
Kind
You
of
know what I
zone out a little bit.
mean? Exactly. But very interesting and like very touching stories for sure.
Oh, cool.
So I definitely recommend. I hope you do get to read them.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I keep
Cool.
seeing it. So, what are some of the other ones that you've liked, disliked?
I try to get into more classical literature when I first started coming to Riv, and I was reading The Catcher in the Rye
Oh,
and
okay, sure.
what is it? No Longer Human. Osamu Dazai. It's also a Japanese writer, but that one's also like
Okay.
known for being like a classic, basically.
Okay.
And I've read them and I haven't really felt that connection. And I just feel like I don't know. I guess I didn't really like how the characters were written or how some things were expressed. And, it is what it is, but definitely more contemporary. I think I've enjoyed more contemporary works. For example, a book that was hyped a lot was A Little Life, and I read it and it lived up to the hype. Have you heard of that?
No.
What?
You're bringing up all kinds of ones that I haven't even heard of. Okay, wait.
No way.
Is it Hanya Yanagihara?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen the cover.
It blew up on everything, and people that were reading it were sobbing on camera. They were broken. It was crazy. And I read it and I absolutely understand. There's the characters in that book live with me till this day. That's also another thing that I love about reading. It just stays with you. When a character stays with you, that's how you know. And basically it's about 5 friends that live in New York, and basically how their different lives all start moving different directions. But the whole group is kind of orbiting around this one specific friend. His name is Jude, and he has kind of a mysterious past. He has disabilities, but they don't really know why. He doesn't have a family, but they don't know why. Where are you from? He doesn't really talk about it. So there's a past there that they haven't really been able to explore because he's very closed off. And then while the story progresses, you start finding out what it was that happened to him, and it's crazy, but it's very deep. I feel like that book is a perfect representation of giving patience to a friend who has gone through something. And every person that I've met that hasn't been able to finish it, they're oh, it's too slow paced.
Okay.
It's so frustrating. He could have talked about it here. He could have talked about it over there. I feel like if you were in that type of situation, what you did with the book is what you would do in that situation, honestly.
It's more realistic.
It feels that way. It feels like you're waiting for him to slowly open himself up, and you just have to give patience. You know what I mean? It feels like reading that book is giving patience to a friend. That's basically the best way that I can put it.
You prefer, I'm trying to think if those would fall under the literary fiction kind of category. Is that kind of a genre that you prefer?
Basically, I'm kind of between literary fiction, suspense. I've been more into historical fiction this summer too.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, fantasy and romance are just you get
a little bit of everything.
Of course. But I'm definitely a bigger fan of just suspense and mystery stories and just literary fiction. I like things that make me think and make me feel like I'm experiencing another person's life, basically. And I think that's the best part about reading. You get to kind of live another life through it.
What are some suspense and mystery kind of books that you've enjoyed?
Well, this summer I read The God of the Woods, which was also blowing up on TikTok for a little bit. That one was fantastic. It was really good. The Girl on the Train. That's literally my favorite suspense mystery book. It's so well written. I love it so much.
Did they make a movie out of that one?
I think they did. I haven't seen it. And then there's another book by that same author that did The Girl on the Train. It's called The Blue Hour. That one was really good too. Honestly, genre-wise, like I said, I'm a big romance fan, and I mean romantasies, you just can't go wrong with them.
No, you can't.
I just started a vampire world building series, which is crazy. I've never read anything like that. The title is so long. Wait, let me see.
There's one that I started that was vampires, the Crowns of Nyaxia.
Crowns, yes, The Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reading right now.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's crazy about those. I read the first book. And I don't know, for some reason, I can't get into vampires. And I love every other kind. I guess vampires, shifters, werewolves, just I can't get into it. And I'm I want to. And I love anything with fae or elves and fantasy and all kinds witches. Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. But I don't know, something about vampires just turns me off.
I get that. I feel like I understand that. If it was werewolves, I wouldn't be able to. It's just, I don't know.
I'm I want to give this a chance, but
I feel like vampires are the only exception I have, but only because the first animated romance show that I watched is called Vampire Night. And
Okay.
it was like, this was when I was like in middle school when I saw that, and I was
Mm-hmm.
so in love with it. Oh my God, they're so elegant. And I think I just have like this kind of nostalgic feeling when it comes to vampires.
Sure.
But I
Well, and I
definitely
think a
get
lot
that,
of
like,
people have that from like Twilight too. And Twilight is like one of those like you loved it or you hated it.
there's no in between.
Right.
But literally, yeah. So I think vampires are my only exception. Like werewolves and
Nice.
all of that, I just no, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do all that. But I agree, Fae. I've been really obsessed with it. Like I read a lot of like Fae fantasy back, like basically last winter,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great. It's fantastic. So I agree with you.
Have you read Quicksilver by Callie Hart?
Yes, I have.
Because that one, I thought it was really interesting how it blended. Like it had the fae kind of angle, but then
Mhm.
it also had like vampire a little bit, but not too much.
Yes, I did like it. I felt like I didn't really like the connection that apparent like
Mm-hmm.
the two main characters had. I felt like the story itself is fantastic. I thought it was
Yeah.
super interesting, like working with metal and how like there's
Mm-hmm.
alchemy that I thought that was like super interesting. I've never read anything like that, but I just wasn't hooked on like basically the main
Like the
couple. Like
romance.
yeah,
Yeah. It
wasn't
felt a little rushed to me. I was like, I like this, but I feel like it needed more time to develop into like such a strong, like,
yeah.
oh, we will destroy the world for each other, you know?
Yes, yes. I feel like I love a good slow burn. I
Mm-hmm.
can wait. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can wait. I can wait till the third book if it's necessary, but I need like the just like for that connection to be like really built. I
Yeah.
feel like Akatar is as popular as it is.
Mhm.
I know,
The
incredible.
absolute best.
Literally, like Ryzen is in all of our hearts. But it's because of how like well it was built up to what it was. Like this wasn't
Yeah,
just like, oh my God, love at first sight. Like no, no,
exactly.
was way more than that. So yeah, I feel like that's why I don't think I would read the second book for Quicksilver just because
Mhm.
of that. I wasn't really hooked on the connection.
Mhm.
Although I find like just the story itself interesting. Maybe
Yeah.
if it comes out and I have nothing else to read, I'll read it. But
Yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm curious to see where it goes because like there was sort of a kind of twist at the end and I'm interested to see.
you
But
know what this reminds me of? What is that book? Fourth Wing? Is that what it's
oh,
called?
yes, Fourth Wing.
Fourth
Then you bring in
Wing.
the dragons.
Yes, that those books are great. I
I
love the
love
world
those.
building on that, but I still
Yeah.
don't feel that connection to like the characters, the
Mm.
couple. I can't
Yep.
feel that. So
That's
I
true.
don't know if
Yeah.
I would read the next one.
I've read all of them and like once you get into them, I feel like they're so fast paced that you're just like sucked in once you remember like who's who and what's happening, like
Yeah.
where everybody is. Because there is a lot of world building, but I'm totally with you. Like I like the main characters, but again, felt like I don't know if it was rushed or just yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I
yeah,
like each of them individually, I feel like, but maybe
mhm.
just as like together, I'm like, meh.
You guys could have just been friends, maybe,
Right,
perhaps.
right.
Like, yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like if a book is supposed to be like a romance book and like that
Mhm.
connection with like the couple isn't really
Mhm.
coupling, I'm gonna drop it. Even as good as like the world building
Right.
is. Like I feel like you should have just promoted it as just a fantasy with a
Yeah.
little bit of romance on the side.
Yeah, and I
And
think
then I
that's
would be
honestly it's become too much of a thing because like I feel like
mhm.
before it was termed romantasy, I that's what I always read. It's like fantasy with some romance in it.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like they're trying to force it so much that it's like
Yes.
this is a steamy romance novel and it's going to have all this stuff but like be set in a fantasy world and it's like just write a good fantasy book, have some
Yes.
romance.
Yes, like you
We'll
don't
enjoy it
need
more.
to. I mean, I understand. I think now a lot of people that are writing books feel like, oh, to sell, I need to like make sure that there's
Yes.
like something going on. If not, like my books aren't selling and nobody's gonna talk
Yeah.
about it. Like there's plenty of books that are
Mhm.
just fantasy, have no romance, and they're
Mhm.
fantastic. But I
Exactly.
think you're right about that. I think people now have like this kind of interpretation that, oh, for me to be able to be successful, I have to like
Mhm.
put all this in a book.
Yep.
Even if I don't actually care about it, I just gotta like put this on the side so I can
Mhm.
write what it is that I want to write, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. I feel like it shouldn't be like that, but you
Right.
know?
That's what the publishers are marketing these days. You know all
Yeah.
about the marketing.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
One that I just read that you might be interested or might not, but it's called A Fate Forged in Fire. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I've seen that title. I feel
It
like if
just
I
came out. It had a very pretty cover. It's by Hazel McBride, and it's like basically Fourth Wing, but like set in a Scottish setting. Like it felt like
oh
if you took Merida from Brave and put her into like Game of Thrones, and there were
my
dragons, and it
God.
was really cool. I was like, I like this.
That sounds really interesting.
And it had a little bit of like the high
Mm-hmm.
fantasy angle of like Sarah J. Maas's like Throne of Glass series. Like it had a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of that almost. It came out to like a 4-star read for me. I was like, I really enjoyed this. It's not like all-time absolute best, but like it was good and I would definitely pick up the next one.
I love that. I'm definitely gonna look for that.
We're checking out at least. Wow, well we've veered so off track of my question. Like
That's
you get me
okay.
going on fantasy books and I'm just like, woo, lost.
No, literally, it's like that. I understand.
So is there a book you've read recently that you can't stop thinking about?
Yes. In the beginning of the summer, I read this book called On Earth, We're
Hmm.
Briefly Beautiful. I think that's how it's called.
Oh, yes.
By
Or
Ocean Wong. I think that's
yep.
his name. I don't know if you've read that before, but
I haven't read it, but I know I've seen it and had people asking about that
yeah,
writer's works.
fantastic. It was probably one of the most beautiful and most heartbreaking books like I've ever
Yeah.
read. Basically, the whole book is just a letter from a son to a mother
Hmm.
who cannot read. She
Oh.
speaks Vietnamese, like she came from Vietnam during the Vietnamese War and all these things.
Mm.
They're like immigrants, and the whole book is just kind of like a letter that he knows she'll never be able to read because she doesn't speak
Oh.
English. And it's so much. It's just about like family trauma, especially when it comes to immigrant families that come from like
Mm.
war-ridden countries like that, and how that type of trauma is kind of inherited. There's a quote from this book that I feel like it blew me away when I read it, and I don't know if you mind if I read it to you.
No, no, of course.
So it says, our mother tongue then is no mother at all, but an orphan. Our Vietnamese, a time capsule, a mark of where your education ended. Ma, to speak in our mother tongue is to speak only partially in Vietnamese, but entirely in war.
That is
Yeah,
really powerful.
extremely. And he has like so many quotes around the book that just hit, and you just have to
Mm.
sit down and just contemplate for like a second. And for me, it's one of my favorites just because it shows that like having language, especially in between like immigrant kids and their parents, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the immigrant parents don't ever teach them the mother tongue because they're afraid
Sure.
that that would later on like affect them. Oh, if you know Vietnamese, people
Yeah.
are gonna be like, no, you're Vietnamese. Like, no, you're American. Like, only speak English. But these
Mm.
parents never get to speak English. So there's always that disconnect in language that you
Sure.
never really get to understand each other. And I feel like that's such a big thing, especially as like a Spanish speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I know Spanish fluently and I can
Mm-hmm.
communicate with my parents, but I've met like families that can't fully communicate. They like
Wow.
have English, have Spanish, and you can see that there's always a slight disconnect, even if they
Mm-hmm.
can't see it or feel it. And I just
Yep.
kind of, I saw that, I read that, and I was like, wow, like that's very, very powerful. And I absolutely understand where he's coming from. Like, yeah.
That's
Hmm.
really neat to have that insight and that experience with it. I think that author's written a couple other books more recently. The one that everyone's been asking about recently is The Emperor of Gladness. I think that's his newest. We had some people asking for that over the summer. So,
Hmm.
all right. My next question was if you could recommend one book to every college student, what would it be and why?
I would say there's a book by Brianna West. She's kind of like a self-help philosopher kind of writer. It's called 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. I would recommend that to anybody in any age. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that book changed my life. It's one of my favorite self-help books. I remember how lost I felt when I first started university and having no
Mm,
idea how like mentality has a lot to do with like being able to balance academics and figuring out where I want to go professionally. So
right.
this book honestly was probably one of like my safe havens because it just kind of grounded me and like made me feel like the things that I was feeling, but I couldn't really figure out what it was. Oh, if you're feeling like this, it's actually this. You have to like internally like stabilize yourself. So like your subconscious is safe. And if your subconscious is safe, like your anxiety lowers. And if your anxiety lowers, you can be more productive. Like
Sure. Like that hierarchy of needs.
Exactly. Everything like starts inside, but you think, oh, I need to be more productive. I'm not being productive. It's because I'm lazy. Like you find anything to just be like, no, like I'm doing everything wrong. But in reality, there's needs that you subconsciously don't know about that need to be met. And once you meet those, everything else falls into place. So I felt like this book is like the best way to like get a better insight within yourself. And I feel like as growing adults, we kind of need that. We don't get taught everything once like we're in high school or like even through our parents. Everybody's right now is our first time living. So like we can't really just assume that, you know, you're going to be able to understand and know everything once you're in college. Like, no, you have to like develop internally into an adult. So like afterwards, like everything else like falls into place. So yeah, that book.
That sounds really good. So it's on a variety of topics, like all the different essays. And is it by one author or is it a collection of different ones?
It's all by her. She writes all the essays. She just compiled them all in a way that she felt like these are things that can change your mentality. Or sometimes it's just a list of things, like the whole essay is like 50 different reasons for something. There's a reason for everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just have one question left. Do you have a favorite spot in the library to read or study?
Yes. I'm usually at I think it's the conversation song. Is that right? Yeah. And I like it because that's where the skylights are. And I feel like you don't really get to be in a room with skylights that often. And I feel like that's just the perfect spot. In the winter, it does get a little chilly, but it's okay. Just bring a sweater and it's okay.
Well, fun fact, we bought some space heaters over the summer and we're going to get them ready for checkout. So you can come to the desk and be like, I would like a space heater, please.
I'm going to be living next to that. Thank you.
Please, yes.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, the warmest spot in the library, I know it's the 3rd floor next to like where all the fiction is, which before I used to read a lot there, but then I would start sweating. So I don't know. It's like I can never win. So
I know different parts of the building. It's like you have the old part of the building, the new part of the building, but then like sometimes the air conditioning is too strong over here and it's like it's hit or miss.
You never know what you're going to get. So it's okay. But yeah, that's my favorite spot, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with like the bright natural light in the open study area and especially like in the front of the building too, you can, you know, see out to the road and I keep thinking like it's going to be like leaves are changing soon and like we can look out and see like the beautiful foliage. It's going to be so nice.
I know it's going to be really pretty. Yeah, and that's another thing. There's like I think 2 big trees right next to that window.
Yes.
Like all gets like every single color, like you see like red, orange, yellow. It's really pretty. Yeah,
it's a great spot. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Any last thoughts or anything you wanted to add?
Honestly, no, I just want to say thank you to you for like approaching me. I was like really excited. I know we've had so many conversations about books.
We love having passionate readers that we see in the library and, you know, getting to chat with you is really a treat. So we really appreciate you taking the time.
No, thank you.
If you'd like to follow us on social media, we are at Regina Library on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can always reach us through our website as well, riviere.edu/library. It's been great having you here, and we'll see you again soon.